Yeah, very well. Yeah. When I was going to say exactly. So when did it strike? So the air conditioning is still going for a while in our office as if it's 35 degrees. It's not. Well, the light says it. What to do? You're very good at it. Central. You're fine. Level 6. Zeros.
respect to elders past, present and emerging. We respect their spiritual beliefs and connection to land, which is of continuing importance to the living God we live today. We acknowledge the contributions and important role that Aboriginal people continue to play within our local community of Charles Sturt. We also respect the culture of Aboriginal people visiting from other areas of South Australia and Australia. Please be seated. Right, a little bit of housekeeping. If you've got a mobile phone or a device that might go through the meeting, you can switch it to silent or off, sometimes that's during our meeting. For those of you who might need the conveniences during the evening, you're over that way, but we've got the lovely Fred Davis at the end outside these rooms here who can answer any questions and give you some directions. And of course, if there are any emergency alarms, you'll be in no mistake about what they're there for. Move outside these doors and take directions from Fred and other staff people who can direct you to safe combination points around the civic centre. We're going to move through the agenda as it's printed, and beginning with 1.2, apologies and leave of absence. We have one from Councillor Tom and Councillor Sinfield, and I believe Councillor Quinn is on the way. I haven't heard anything from her. All right, looking to part 2, the confirmation of the minutes. This is in regard to the meeting of Council that was held on Monday the 25th of March 2024, having read them. Can I have someone move a motion that they are true and correct reflection of that meeting? Councillor George.
I should move that way, second.
Thank you. Councillor Edgar.
Yeah, happy to second it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or debate on that? I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Any against? None against. That's carried unanimously. Moving on to 2.2, reports of the committees part 1. 2.2.1, the Corporate Services Committee, which met on Tuesday the 2nd of April 2024. Councillor Alice, you presided over the meeting. Can you make a report, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Angela. So the Corporate Services Committee met on Tuesday the 2nd of April. We had a lengthy meeting due to the fact that it was a review of the capital and annual operating project budget bids, which would be included in the draft annual business plan. So effectively we were determining which projects would be included into the budget for consultation. So there was quite a number of capital and operating projects that we discussed and debated throughout the course of the meeting. I'll actually defer both the 4.12 customer experience report and 4.13 draft budget to the item that's later in this meeting though, because both those items are related to later in this meeting. Apologies for that. I'm not sure which.
That's all right. We've got that. It's item 6.29, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll defer both of those to 6.29 because I think that's more suited for debate later, and that item in our council meeting tonight is more suitable for them. So other than that, we just had the 4.14 quarterly update to council's delegations was the final item that was determined. So I'll move the report, but only include the
Started. Thank you. Can I have a second, please? Oh, sorry. Any questions on the report first of all? All right, we'll have a mover. Can I have a second?
I'll second that, thank you, Mayor.
Any questions or debate on that? I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Any against? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to part 3 reports. 3.03, the Mayor Report for March 2024. Members, we can take it as read. I'm happy to answer any questions. Are there any questions on that before we proceed? Councillor Egan, you wish to move?
Yes, that's what I want to do, Mayor. Just move the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Sorry, can I have a second, please? Councillor Michael.
I'm happy to second that, Mayor, thank you.
Questions or debate? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Any against? Deputy Co, I beg your pardon, Mr. Randy Jenkins and Miss Sarah McGrath. They are all relevant to the matters that we have on our agenda this evening. So I'm going to seek leave of the meeting that we hear the deputation requests 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Can I see a show of hands that leave is granted? Excellent. Good. All right, let's start off with the first one. 4.12, deputation, Croydon Avenue Reserve renaming, and we have Miss Maria Russo, who's going to join us at the desk. Now, I know, Maria, that you're a dab hand at making deputations, so I'm not going to go through all of the rigmarole except to say, would you mind just saying your name and where you live, and then after that we've got 5 minutes, and then council will ask some questions if they choose to. Thank you. You can sit if that's more comfortable. Yeah. And there's a microphone. Yeah, is it on? There we go. Thank you. Right.
Now, before I begin this dedication, I ask that Councillor Kelly Thomas.
Sorry, no. Miss Maria, you need to start with your name and your address. Can you do that, please?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, can you start now, please?
My name is Maria Russo,
And where do you
and
live?
I live in number 20 Hester Street, Croydon.
Yeah. Okay, your deputation tonight is actually about the Croydon Avenue Reserve renaming. There is no requirement for you to identify or call out any of the members at this time, so can you please start with the topic?
Yeah, but I don't want these people to be here to hear my deputation.
They are here this evening. So please, this is council. We're ready, willing and able to listen to your deputation on the matter relating to the Croydon Avenue Reserve renaming. Thank you.
Dear Mayor Vance, Councillor and Assembly. My name is Maria Russo, resident of Croydon for over 60 years. This deputation is about renaming the local Croydon Avenue Reserve by naming it with the name of a long-time resident of Croydon. To begin with, as far as I know, there hasn't been enough community consultation about renaming the reserve, and even less about which name would be appropriate. Now, the people who have the idea of renaming the park in favor of one resident in Croydon, in my opinion, as well as the residents, committed an act of discrimination toward the majority of radicals in Croydon. The City of Sturt and the Councillor should not be part of approving this undemocratic and discriminatory action. Therefore, I, as well as the community, request that the Council stop spending money by honouring someone just because the person has organised a Christmas party in a park for the Christian people. In conclusion, the request letter of renaming the reserve in favour of one resident in Croydon is discriminatory and offensive to the rest of the Croydon residents, and therefore should be thrown into the trash where it belongs. We must remember, Australia is a democratic country where justice and equality should prevail at all times. Now, on this note, I rest my cards. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Linden. So the councillor has asked you, what name do you want to name the reserve?
I wanted to stay as it is.
Okay, thank you, that's great. Any other questions have we got from the floor? No? All right then, can I have someone move that we formally thank Ms. Russo for her presentation and any notes that comply with Council's Code of Practice for Meeting Procedures and the laws of defamation be included in the minutes. Can I have someone move that way, please? Councillor Alice? Can I have a seconder, please? I need a light on, so who've we got? Oh,
I'll second
Nick, Councillor Nick, thank you. Questions or debate on that? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Any against? It's none against, that's carried unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And we've got a copy of your notes?
Yes, sir.
Excellent, beautiful, thank you very much.
Good night to all.
Thank you very much. Now we're moving on to item 4.13, the SANFL proposal to utilise West Lakes Oval for the establishment of the SANFL High Performance and Community Football Facility. That will be brought to us by Mrs. Christine Williams. Thank you. Yes.
I have to make
Yes.
I have to declare a conflict of interest.
Sure.
As my partner is an employee of SANFL, which relates to his deputation, and I'll deal with the conflict by leaving the room for the duration of the deputation.
Yeah, as all of them actually do relate to that, but you will need to come back in between each. Thank you, Councillor Alice. Okay, now, Christine, welcome. Thank you for coming this evening. You know the gig too, 5 minutes before I'll let you know when it's almost up. Yeah, if you need an extension, we can seek leave of the meeting to give that to you, and then after that some questions. Thank you. Can you start with your name and who you're representing this evening? Thank you.
Okay, my name is Christine Williams and I'm president of the Woodville West Torrens Football Club. So firstly, dear Mayor, elected members of the City of Sturt, I come here today not only as the president of the Woodville West Torrens Football Club, but also as someone whose passion, dedication and commitment is centred within the City of Sturt community. It's with great enthusiasm and conviction that I express our club's resounding support for the South Australian National Football League's proposal to utilise West Lakes Oval for the establishment of the SANFL High Performance and Community Football Facility. At the heart of our endorsement lies a deep-seated belief in the transformative power of sport, particularly football, to enrich lives and strengthen communities. With our club residing in the City of Sturt, we've witnessed firsthand the positive impact that sport can have on individuals, families and neighbourhoods. It's not merely about kicking a ball or scoring goals, it's about fostering camaraderie, instilling discipline and nurturing talent. Our club's roots run deep within the fabric of the City of Sturt. With Montine Kia Oval as our home base, we've cultivated a long-standing partnership with this council, one founded on shared values and a commitment to community development. We've seen how sport can break down barriers, unite people from diverse backgrounds and inspire the next generation of leaders. The significance of this proposal extends far beyond the boundaries of football field. By establishing the state-of-the-art facilities at West Lakes Oval, we are investing in the future of our community. We're providing our young athletes with the resources they need to excel both on and off the field. We are creating a hub for innovation, education, excellence, and where dreams are going to be nurtured and aspirations realised. I'm sure you're all aware of the economic and social benefits that such a facility would bring to the City of Sturt. It would not only attract visitors and investment, but also serve as a beacon of hope and opportunity for our youth. It would reaffirm this city's reputation as a vibrant, forward-thinking community where progress and prosperity go hand in hand. In closing, I urge you to consider the profound impact that this initiative could have on the future of our community. By supporting the SANFL's proposal, we are not only just building a football facility, but we are building a legacy and one that will endure for generations to come. Together, it would be great if we could embark on this journey towards a brighter, more inclusive future for the City of Sturt. So on behalf of the Woodville West Torrens Football Club, I thank you for your time and consideration. Thank you.
Excellent. Any questions of Christine this evening? There are none. Thank you very much.
Thank
Can I
you.
have someone move the motion to formally thank Christine for her efforts this evening, and we'll include those notes in the minutes of the meeting. Councillor Kelly.
I'm happy to move that way, Mayor.
Seconder, Councillor Peter.
I'm happy to settle on that now.
Any questions for the debate? Put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Any against? None against. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. If we could have Councillor Alice back, that'd be great. Fred doesn't appear to be there. Thanks, Bruce. Now, members, with the consent of both Mr. Mulligan and Mr. Chandler, they want to swap. So Darren Chandler's going to go first and Mr. Stephen Mulligan after that. So I'm assuming that we don't have to affirm that formality in any other way. No? Okay. Darren, you can set yourself up if you like. I don't know where you're Councillor Alice is, but we can't proceed until she's back in the chambers and makes the relevant declaration again. Okay. So we're about, yes, excellent, thank you.
Sorry, I had to declare a conflict of interest with regards to this deputation as my partner is an employee of Sandford, and I will deal with the conflict by leaving the meeting for the duration of this deputation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. You know how this goes too, Darren, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, okay. And I'll seek the input from elected members at the end of your presentation if they have any questions. So if you could just start with your name and who you represent.
Darren Chandler, Chief Executive Officer of the South Australian National Football League. Mayor, elected members, thanks for the opportunity to speak. We had a workshop a week or so ago, and I don't intend to go through the entire presentation we went through there, but I would like to highlight a number of key points that have come from that presentation and some further work that we've done. I did want to reiterate that this facility and the use of the oval will be used by young talented players, males and females. We won't be playing sample football, competition games at Football Park if this licence is approved. And it's an opportunity to share the facility, share the oval with the community, and we're very committed to that. Our times of use is a topic that we've discussed quite a bit. We originally proposed 100 hours per month, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We've now varied that following the feedback from the residents and also elected members, and we're proposing 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and reducing the maximum time to 90 hours per month. And that is across the weekdays and then 5 hours over the weekend. We've spoken previously about daylight hours. We've done some analysis on this, and we are absolutely confident that 16% of all daylight hours is the absolute maximum that we would use. That leaves 84% of the time, and it'll probably be greater than that, but 84% of the time this oval will be available for community use. What I've done here, I've just highlighted 4 months, and at the workshop we went through 2 months. During March, this is one of our busiest times. Period from February, March, April, May, the busiest times. During March, we estimate that we would use the oval for 15 hours a week. Monday, 5:30, 7:30, Tuesday, 6 to 8:30, 6 to 8:30 on a Thursday, and then Friday, 5 to 8 o'clock with trial games in that March period, which is so critical because we have so many of our grounds available that are unavailable because of cricket with joint leases. So that's a March period there, a busy time. May is also busy, nothing on the weekends, but we're training it is 5 times a week, but as you can see by those times, it does vary a little bit. All the green area is the time it is available for the community to use the oval, and that's a busy time. I've then just highlighted September there, where we would use the oval twice a week, 5 to 8 p.m. During that period. The rest of the time it will be available for the community. October I haven't included because that is total green. We don't intend to use it during the period of October. November, a little bit busier, but as you can see there, 9 hours for the week between Monday to Thursday, and 3 of those sessions are not starting till 6 o'clock. That's what we're doing now. Obviously we've asked for 90 hours per month, and our programs will vary from time to time and year to year. But this is indicative of the programs that we're running now and how we would intend to use the oval. I showed this slide during the workshop, but this is the Adelaide Football Club, how they will use the oval if they stay at West Lakes. And we know that if we can't work through this, then this is a distinct possibility where the Adelaide Football Club will use the oval during the day for their men's team, academy programs, and they'll use it at night for AFL women's programs, SANFL programs, and then on the weekends as well for matches and training. There's not those red circles and oval there show the times of the day when the oval will be available for the general public. As we can see, there's a significant more time available for the residents and community with SANFL being there. Car parking and traffic management, I won't go through all of these details, but we have...
I've just got one more, about half a minute to go, and then I'll seek leave for another.
We've been through a process there to commit to building a car park bigger than the required size, and to centre the entrance to that car park around Turner Drive to make sure that cars are not coming through the residential area. And looking at a park and drop zone in that car park as well, encourage parents to drop their young athletes off and then look to shop at West Lakes. Lighting and noise levels.
Darren, just, I will interrupt you now. How much longer would you like?
Probably 2 minutes will be fine.
Okay, can I seek leave of the meeting to give Darren another 3 minutes, up to another 3 minutes? Thank you. Leave's granted.
Thank you. Lighting and noise levels, by reducing the amount of time we're on the oval, obviously the noise levels will be reduced, albeit you'll be at a similar noise level to what's currently now there with the Adelaide Football Club training. Your elite athletes, there's 40 to 50 on the oval at any one time maximum. And we're absolutely committed to not going past 8:30, so from a lighting point of view and a noise level point, I think that's very reasonable from a resident's perspective. Scoreboard toilets, we're not requiring the scoreboard that was previously discussed. We're going to actually put that on our own building. And toilets, we will cater for anyone who's there at a football event by owning our own facilities and making toilets available for all football related people. Image of the scoreboard there that we're proposing to be on the building itself in that western side. Community benefits, the lot been discussed here. The benefits to our young players and the communities has been raised and is very, very important. Obvious economic benefits for traders. We'll maintain the oval to the highest standard that it is now. I won't go through the rest, but they're in the papers, but there's so many significant community benefits that we will bring to the table, including an investment of $27 million into this area. Some of the proposed changes we've made over the journey through discussions with local residents, through feedback we've received. The SANFL use, I've covered that off, we've reduced that. Parking and traffic management, we feel we've got good solutions to cover that off. Lighting use, noise levels the same. Scoreboard toilets we've discussed. Community benefits, there's significant of those. And the latest change we propose is on the feedback from the workshop is rather than 2x21 year licences, actually making that 4x10 year and a 2 year at the end, where we can get continual feedback and make necessary changes if needed over that journey. So finally, what I'd like to say is that to the elected members here, I really strongly encourage you to allow this process to go to the next level. where we can go back to community consultation with these proposed changes, listen to the residents, and hopefully at the end of all that we're in a position to make a really good sound decision and hopefully support an end result which allows us to use the oval in conjunction with the local community. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Any questions, please? Councillor Kelly.
Thank you for your presentation, Darren. I've just, on the community benefits, the benefits of the community page, there's the AusKick and holiday coaching programs. When they, because they didn't seem to be on there, but when would they be generally?
Haven't included those on the schedule. We would only do those if that was something that the community wanted.
Right.
So that I would see that as a benefit that we can actually roll those out, and they don't necessarily need to be exclusively on the oval. You can actually run those in small sections of the oval and have the oval available for communities at the same time.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Sturt.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, Gary. I observed this last weekend you have installed the temporary lighting stands, 4 of them, and I'm just curious what level of light intensity your current 4 lights will be, or are in. Will they comply with the 200 lux, and by comparison it would be brighter or dimmer than it currently is?
I'm not sure of the current ones, but our proposal is no more than 200 lux, and that compares to a Henley, I think which is about 400, 500 as is with at the moment. So we're very clear. We understand that there's residents around the place, and that 200 lux will be the maximum we require.
Just clearly, what is the current lux value of these temporary lights?
I couldn't tell you. They're run at Adelaide Football Club in our lives.
Thank you.
Staff might be able to help you out with that. Councillor Dean has the question we can take on notice. Councillor Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I'm interested in the maintenance question. You said that the club will maintain the grounds and absorb costs. What does this include? What does the maintenance include?
The maintenance include is keeping the turf to the level it is now. So all mowing, line marking, weeding, spraying, everything is being managed now at the oval, which we're doing, and we maintain. The cost of that is somewhere between $100,000 and $120,000 per year to do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Excellent. Can I have someone move the motion to formally thank you for your presentation tonight, Darren, and if you've got any notes, we'd like to include them in the minutes of the meeting as well. Councillor Mike.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Seconded, Councillor Kelly. Thank you. Questions or debate on that? The motion to the vote, all those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, get Councillor back in.
Westlake's. I've actually been the local MP for a bit over 10 years now, so I've seen the entirety of the West development take shape over that period of time. And as council staff would know, I've made a nuisance of myself in recent years, particularly on behalf of residents, about how some of the development has been undertaken by the developer. But I don't want that at all to colour the proposition that the council has got in front of it tonight, because it is my very firm view that what's been proposed by the SANFL will be a significant benefit to the area and to the local community. As the SANFL has just pointed out in their presentation, this will see a significant increase in the accessibility of the old football park oval to the local community, and it will happen at a time when the surrounds of that football park precinct are significantly improved from what they are at the moment. I think all of us would agree that the area surrounding the oval needs significant improvement, and I am aware that council staff have been doing their absolute best to hold commercial and general's feet to the fire to make sure that they make good on the commitments that they made to all of us over the last 10 years about how they're going to develop and leave this area. So that work is not yet complete, but it is my view that the council's done an amazing job to date on that proposition as well. I became aware during the course of this process that the SANFL, what they're currently proposing is even less than what they proposed in the first instance, which itself was a significant improvement from how the Adelaide Crows use the oval. So I'll limit my comments there because I'm happy to take questions if it's of interest to you, Mayor, and to councillors. But I do think that this is a positive move for the community, the SANFL taking over the stewardship of the oval, managing it, maintaining it, and making it so broadly available for the local community. I mean, every day after school kids are going to be able to run around this oval until 5 o'clock. There'll be at least one full day on the weekend, every weekend of the year, if not times outside those proposed times on Saturdays. And then, of course, people won't help the school kids when they're at school, but the rest of the day will be available as well. Now, that is just such a vast improvement from how the Crows use it at the moment that I see this as a really good thing. And I think the actual details of the Crows, of the SANFL's development itself, have also been significantly improved due to interactions they've had with council staff.
Right, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Monaghan?
Yes.
Councillor Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mulligan, for your interpretation. Around the oval, at the moment, there's proposed 2 apartment blocks for the southern end of the ground, a proposed apartment block for the northern end of the ground, from the goals down a bit before it gets to that corner near your office, and obviously when the Crows vacate, there is some sort of other housing going where the Crows building is currently. Has the government at all thought about purchasing some of that land around there to add to the open space that could potentially be a bit of a win for the residents as well?
Yeah, look, I stress I'm here in my capacity as the local MP. My other role is as Treasurer, and it's become sport for everyone in South Australia holding upside down by the ankles to see what they can shake out and the opportunity that provides itself. My view, I didn't realise that those 2 corners of the oval, if I can use your term, at the southern end between Truby Drive and the oval, I didn't realise that there were propositions for apartment buildings there. And my personal view is that would be an absolute disaster, and I think that would be extremely unfair on those residents who have already bought into that particular area of the West development to see 2 apartment buildings erected there and done in a really egregious proximity to the oval, and also blocking residents,
council was able to reach an agreement with the developer to take over that land under some arrangement, I think that would be the best possible outcome for the development and for the area, as well as for the oval. It would then feel a lot more like a community oval, sort of only oval type oval where people can walk off the street and just watch whatever's going on in the oval, or watch kids recreate on there, etc. There is a fund available that is for that specific purpose. It's the Planning and Development Fund. So I can't sort of give you any assurances or hints about access to that fund, but I would hope that the developer would realise they've got a greater obligation to the community than what I would say they've demonstrated to date in their conduct. It's my view that the council has fought tooth and nail on behalf of residents so far in so many different ways on how this development's been carried out. And if the council could reach some agreement with the developer to take over that land and prevent it from being developed into apartments, I think that would be an excellent outcome.
So is that something that you would advocate for the residents as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've had a number of representations to me as the local MP. My office is immediately adjacent to this area, from residents who honestly believe that they were not made aware that if they bought a property on Trowbridge Drive or even in the surrounds, that there were going to be these two apartment buildings on the southern side. And that's just about the southern side. I haven't even spoken about the corner of land that you also made reference to next to the council's really significant investment in the library precinct. And I also think that if a similar arrangement could be reached there, that would be excellent as well. But without ranking them, I share the concern that sits behind your question that I don't think anyone, other than maybe commercial in general, want to see those two bits of land on the southern end of the oval adjacent to Trowbridge Drive developed. And I do whatever I can to assist the council and the community to drive that outcome.
Thank you. Right, any other questions from the floor? Councillor Lindsay.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I just had a question in relation to the feedback from the residents with regards to traffic management, to congestion, to lots of prime time. I know you mentioned after school that kids can do a bit, obviously some can work till 6 o'clock. Are you confident that these concerns have been addressed by the SNFL to date?
Yeah, I know that there are some in the community who don't want any locked-in use for the oval, and I understand that perspective. I don't necessarily agree with it, because I think you need to have somebody who undertakes some role of stewardship and responsibility for maintaining it. And I think if the SAFL is going to do it, that they're going to do it on the basis that they're not going to play league games there, they're not going to have significant events or that sort of thing. It's really only going to be as a training facility and for that very limited match facility for their development squads on a Saturday. That is just such a substantial improvement from what we've had, or what we currently have with the Adelaide Pros. I think that's good, and it's my experience, albeit my kids are a bit younger, still at primary school, that school kids need access to public ovals, usually in that hour and a half after they leave school. And the other kids that want longer access to community ovals are usually doing it as part of a club that has got an arrangement with an oval anyway, whether it's Smosh or Seaton Ramblers or whoever. I just listed those two because they're in my electorate, for example. So I don't see that those hours from 5 p.m. onwards are going to be much of an impediment to kids in the community. I mean, there may well be local residents who feel that they would like access after work to the oval, and I understand that, but I do think that this is a very pragmatic solution which severely restricts the oval's usage compared to what we've got today, and leaves the community with much improved facilities and new opportunities for kids to be involved in organised sport.
Thank you.
Right, any other questions from the floor?
Happy to second that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Questions or debate? Motion to vote. All those in favour? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillor Ellis, thank you. So we're up to deputation 5, Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, Angela. I wish to declare a conflict of interest in relation to this item, as my partner is an employee of Sample, and therefore I'll deal with the conflict by leaving the meeting for this reputation.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're up to Ms. Eddie Chico. Thank you. So, Ms. Chico, you've got 5 minutes. Round 4, I will ring the bell and let you know. We'd like you to wrap up if you can. If you're really struggling, want some more time, we'll see whether we need to give that to you. And then I'll open it up to the floor in case you have some questions of you. Can you start with your name and address?
Okay. My name is Eddie Chico and I live at 39 True Bridge Drive, West Lakes. Mayor Evans, Mr Sutton, elected members and staff, thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. At a recent meeting, the Sample presented their amended proposal, which included what they consider to be community benefits, and it was put up on the screen before by Mr Chandler. Community benefits which arise from their proposal. And I'm reading West Development Community here because this oval primarily affects the West Development Community. So I'd like to look at each one of these benefits to see who they actually benefit. In their proposal, included on page 21 of the report, the Sample outlined what they consider to be 9 benefits to the West Development Community, which include the following. Number 1, the Sample programs will provide an opportunity for young footballers, male and female, to develop their careers and maximise their potential. Now this really looks like a tug at our heartstrings. Where is the benefit to the West community? This can be achieved at any location, which is ultimately selected by the Sample. It isn't dependent on acquiring the use of our particular green space. Number 2, Sample will maintain the oval to the current high standards at Sample's cost. Okay, so this is possibly one of the biggest reasons I can see that the council wants this proposal to go ahead, because it impacts their pocket. Not having to pay roughly $100,000 per year maintenance on this oval would be highly appealing to council. However, is this a benefit to our community? We would only require the oval to be maintained as a park, not an elite football ground. Therefore, it wouldn't be as expensive to maintain for the council. Number 3, increased economic benefits for local traders. Now, I'm not sure which local traders are referred to here because we know for a fact that several traders have complained about the lack of parking for their clients and customers, so much so that they've requested petition forms so they can help to persuade the council not to allow the Sample a licence. So there is no benefit here for our business community. Traders are already losing customers due to parking access restrictions. Number 4, additional lighting and activity will allow for a safer and secure environment for the community. Okay, so the proposed lighting will be an eyesore within the development and affect surrounding houses. What is needed instead would be lower, localised lighting for barbecue areas and around seating. There's no benefit here to our community. Number 5, Sandfield Junior programs for children living within or close to the West Development. Regardless of what programs are going to be offered or proximity to the grounds, children will still have to be transported by car to the Oval, and this will cause further parking issues. No benefit to our community. Number 6, Sandfield will increase car parking capacity and coordinate parking relating to football activities. It has been explained previously that conjuring up around 78 more parking spots at the Mosaic Hotel in an already overcrowded parking lot, especially on Friday and Saturday nights, is not going to alleviate the increased parking problems that will result. Cars are already being parked in unmarked areas and on verges. So in reality, a few extra lines in the car park are not going to help. In addition, parents will park where it is convenient for them, not where Sandfield or anyone else tells them to. Anyone can park on the street or in the current Natunga car park. This will not change and will be exacerbated when it is raining or very cold. Where is the benefit to our community? Number 7, Sandfield will coordinate the use of the Oval for football periods within licence terms to ensure that the ground usage is appropriately managed. So who will be monitoring the specified hours of use? Will there be penalties for breaches? Will our community have to keep an eye on this? Number 8, Sandfield will invest $27 million into the Talent and Community Centre and the Oval. How will this benefit our immediate community? Who will reap the benefits? This is for Sandfield's benefit, not for anyone else. Number 9, Sandfield will use the ground far less than the Adelaide Football Club. The Adelaide Football Club's use of the Oval is mostly during the day at times when children are at school and parents are at work. So the Adelaide Football Club's impact on the residents is negligible.
Edie, how long have you got? Just if you could look to me.
Oh,
yes,
sorry.
that's right. Sorry, it's a bit confusing with the reverb in the room.
Yep.
How much more time do you want?
Just probably a minute.
Okay, can I simply the meeting that we give up to 2 minutes for the presentation to finish? Thank you.
Thank you. Number 8, Sandfield will invest $27 million into the AFC. So the Adelaide Football Club's impact on the residents is negligible. It is therefore preferable to have the AFC here than the SANFL. There's no benefit here to the community. So in conclusion, it appears that all 9 community benefits are really camouflage Sandfield benefits or statewide benefits. There's nothing there that would enhance the lives of the West community nor provide added value. The bottom line is that the Sandfield sold off the land for a hefty sum and moved to Sturt, and now because they're being forced to move, they want it back. The Sandfield do not understand that the purpose of this oval has changed and is no longer a commercial football ground or football park, but part of the designated green space to be developed and enhanced for the benefit of residents of the West Development. And on a final note, I believe that we should stop referring to this oval as football park. It's no longer football park. It lost its title when the grandstands, light towers and scoreboards came down and formal games stopped being played there and was sold to C&G as simply an oval to be included as the required green space for the residents of the West Development. Thank you.
All right, any questions from the floor, please? Any questions? Councillor Nicole.
Hello, thanks for your deputation. Can I ask some questions on how long you've lived on Trubridge Drive?
Trubridge
Yeah.
Drive, 3.5 years.
So you didn't buy when it was being developed, you bought after you bought a property from someone who'd been there earlier than you?
No, we built our
You
own.
built your own?
Yes.
And when you were building, before you signed the dotted line, what were you told about the oval space and that green space?
That it would always remain an oval or space, green space, for the West Development. They said it would never go, it would never get sold off or houses put on it. It was always going to remain an open space for us as part of our space allocated to the development.
And the
3 new apartment blocks that others have talked about tonight, either end. Was that in the development that you were given as part of the growth of the area?
No, they came later actually. Yeah.
Thank you, that's all I've got.
Any other questions? Floor. Right. Can someone move? Formally thank Ms. Chico for her deputation, and also if you've got a copy of those notes, we'd
I'll
like to
give you one, yes.
Okay. Can I have a mover for that? That's Councillor Kelly. To move that. Seconder, Councillor Nicole.
Happy to second.
Right. Any questions or debate on that? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? None against. That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much for your time, Steve. Number 6, Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. I have to declare a conflict of interest in relation to this deputation as my partner is an employee of Sandford. I'll deal with the conflict by leaving the meeting for the duration of this deputation.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Randall Jenkins, thanks for joining us this evening. We've got 5 minutes. I'll let you know around about 4. When it is time to think about wrapping up, if you need some more time, I'll see you the meeting committed to you. And I'll be, they may actually ask you some questions at the end of the deputation. But can you begin by saying your name and address, please?
Okay, my name is Randall Jenkins. I live at 101 True Ridge Drive, which is, for those, it's directly behind the Southern Goals. So, Mayor and elected members, thank you for the opportunity to talk tonight. Eddie's stolen some of my thunder, so I won't have to cover off some of what I have, but I want to talk about the health and well-being of the local West community, a high-density housing development, being traded off for the benefit of a small group of the elite footballers. And let me say this first, I'm a Crows member from year 1. So I love living across from the Oval. From my bedroom window, I watch them train every day, or not every day, but I watch them train. I was heavily involved in junior sport and ran Auskick clinics, was a junior chairman of a large local club. So I'm certainly not anti-football in any way, shape or form, and understand the benefits that it brings to communities. If we look at the pictures I've got up there, obviously we have an oval, a significant area of oval which the community will be locked out of for a period of time. In return, a community of say 3,000 to 4,000 people, once it's developed, is getting access to a small pocket of land in the northeastern corner of the oval, on a main street for access into the Westfield shopping centre, on the intersection of the aged care facility as well. It cannot, that area can certainly not cater for when we can't go on the oval. It doesn't cater for the volume of people that want to use it. The picture of the people sitting on the footpath is spectators at the recent trial game, Adelaide Crows versus Eagles game. You can see there's no facilities in this plan for spectators. They were all over the footpath, making access difficult for residents in that area. At multiple times we've asked for clarification on the open space available to the community. The picture in the bottom right-hand corner is open space behind my property. It is an area in Haru Lane to stop through traffic. It's not a usable open space. I certainly won't be having my Christmas lunch in that area. If we look at the the SANFL proposal, it is clear that the primary purpose of this is to meet an AFL oval. There's no, the community is restricted to very small areas around the perimeter. As I mentioned, the playground's on a corner on a main road. There's minimal facilities. There's no shade, shelter or that, so it's not an attractive area for the community to go to. As I mentioned, there's no ability for, no separate areas for spectators. And my son having been involved in the Norbert development squads, I know how many parents and grandparents go to training and watch. It's in the hundreds. The plan doesn't show where the light towers are. I've actually put them on the plan, so you can see there's going to be 6 light towers. I assume in the pockets and on the wings it will interfere with the walking paths. The players have to cross Phillip Street to get access to the oval. Will the SANFL want to limit traffic movements as their players are moving around? The plan doesn't show any access to the oval other than the southern end and the access ramp for the lawnmowers and that to get down there. So, and the area in the northwestern corner is actually what was proposed to be a retail plaza. I looked at how else could we use the oval as a community? Well, we don't need an oval as big as Football Park. The community doesn't need that. We need an oval where we've got access to multiple zones for concurrent community activities. And as Eddie mentioned in hers, it's no longer a football precinct. So Zone 1, for example, could be used for ball sports and dogs off lead and boot camps and kite flying and markets and moonlight cinemas. We can still have a reasonable green field, about approximately 120 by 60 metres. So it would be great if we could go down there for family picnics and birthday parties and have extra trees in those zones for some shelter. It doesn't have to be just a football oval. So I'm not going to go through this slide. Eddie basically covered everything on here. I agree with everything Eddie said. There's very few benefits for the West community. It's all about the SANFL. Just some other questions that I've been thinking about is, what does the council mean by a running track? Is it a running track or is it just a footpath? Community members who have an association with the SANFL were allowed to speak at the workshop. No other community members had that opportunity.
Excuse me, Brandon, I'm sorry, but we have to seek leave of the meeting for you to continue. How much more time are you looking for?
No more than 2 minutes.
Okay, can I seek leave of the meeting for an extra 3 minutes? Thank you. Right.
So my question is will the community be given an opportunity to present an alternate use to the oval, one that provides a benefit to the local community, can also be used by other sporting clubs as well? We've asked several times around the open space, and it appears to always be, hasn't been answered clearly. The central park, approximately 30% of that area is not usable. It's the lake. It's dangerous for children, and you can't have a picnic or kick a football on a council verge. And does the council honestly believe the area proposed for the barbecues and the playground is really adequate? This was interesting. My wife came home from getting a haircut on the weekend, and she hadn't been speaking to the hairdresser specifically about this. She just asked where my wife lived, and she said, "Oh, we live in Live West." And this was the comment that the hairdresser made to her. Now, the hairdresser lives in Semaphore, and I thought we would look for a playground and picnic area to take our kids to over Easter. We drove through the West Development and couldn't believe there wasn't a single playground to be found. The parks are so small that the kids couldn't run around and traffic was always a concern. So that's that's it for me. Thank you.
Any questions from the floor, please?
look, I mean, if there was more open space within walking distance, then certainly that would be a benefit. Because when the crows are on the oval, which is nowhere near as much as what the SANFL say they are, because I watch them train instead of working from home. A lot of the time, you can still actually use parts of the oval. Not so much when the crows main team is there, but certainly when the women are training and when the SANFL squads are training, they don't tend to use the whole oval. They wouldn't use it more than 7 hours a week, probably at most, across the whole AFL thing. So we can use parts of the oval, but certainly we were never told about apartment buildings going up in those pockets that one of the other councillors asked. In fact, there was a lot of things that we were promised by commercial in general, but nothing more than a used car salesman table. So,
and can I ask, you mentioned the road and track in your presentation. Are you supportive of the current proposed running? Should this proposal go ahead, or would you like to see that space utilised in a different way?
look, there has to be some form of buffer around the oval and any future development that takes place, any extra housing development. A lot of that buffer, from what we understand, is going to be taken up by the oval sits approximately 2 metres below the rest of the development. So a lot of that 3 metre buffer that we talk about is going to be taken up with retaining walls to build the land up. And then, I mean, look, the walking track around the oval will be brilliant, but it is a footpath around the oval, but it's going to be interrupted by light towers. They can't reside inside the fence of the oval. They have to be on the outside. So they're going to take up some of this space. And the running track, walking track, whatever you want to call it, footpath, we've already seen spectators sitting on it and making it difficult to walk through that area.
Any other questions, please? Councillor Rachel.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I do have some questions. You said that the oval plan is restricted in its access. Can you explain to me what that means?
Well, I'm not sure if I can go backwards. When we look at the plan here, and I understand this is probably a detailed engineering drawing, we have access in this southern end of the oval, which appears to be some form of walkway down onto the oval. This access to the oval here is how they currently bring the tractors down onto the oval from mowing. It's currently just it's just rubble. You can't. It's very difficult if you wanted to get a wheelchair or a pram or anything down there. You can't do that at the moment. This shows no access over here to the oval at all. So we don't understand how anyone on this northern side gains access to the oval. This is a retail plaza, so there will probably be some form of access down there. But this plan lacks a lot of detail from a community perspective. From my point of view.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have one more question. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. You spoke about providing the community with community activities, and I'm just trying to work out if there is an issue with the number of young people coming for training and then having spectators there and having congestion with traffic, because I'm just trying to work out what community activities would be acceptable to people living in this area, because you mentioned flying kites and I can't remember.
I mean, look, things such as, having like you do in a lot of parks. You go down for a family picnic, or you go for a kid's birthday party. There's no shade on this oval. You can't have it on a 30-degree day. That is not a pleasant place to be. So there's those public facilities. The playground is in a dangerous location. You've got vehicles at speed coming off the Trowbridge Drive. You've got all your traffic accessing the Charles Street, get into the West Development. I've got a 2.5-year-old granddaughter. At the moment, I can move quicker than she can. That won't last for long. And that playground, its vicinity, is a disaster waiting to happen. It is a high traffic area with a lot of distractions. Parents picking up children from daycare, people going shopping. To me, it's like we've got to put a playground somewhere. Let's put it here.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the floor? Right, thank you very much. Can I have someone move a motion to formally thank Mr Jenkins and also Mr Jenkins for your presentation that you'd like to
Yeah, I've got my presentation ready.
Can I have someone, Kelly, which slide? Thank you. And Councillor Michael.
Happy to second that, mate.
Thank you. All right, any questions or debate? Put the motions to the vote. All those in favour? Any against? No, it's carried unanimously. We can have Councillor Alice back. Thank you. Councillor Alice, number 7.
Thank you, Angela. I have to declare a conflict of interest in relation to corporate-related deputation. As my partner is an employee of Southall, I'll deal with this conflict by leaving the chamber for the duration of this deputation. Thank you.
Thank you. So, the deputation request came from Sarah Brunt. I'll note that you've got a wing man with you. I have my own name. Excellent. Sarah, I know you can't figure out how this works, but for the purposes of those in the meeting, if you're not 5 minutes, I'll let you know when the bell goes that time to wrap up. If you need some more time, I'll put it back to the chambers and then they can ask some questions at the end of the deputation. So, can you introduce yourself and also the gentleman who's with you? And we can take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. This is Mr. Peter Bracken, who's a resident of West Development, and I'm making this deputation on behalf of a group of Live West residents. My name is Sarah McGrath, and most of you know me as a former Grand Ward councillor. I was a 141 CB Red Tennyson. Good evening, Mayor Evans, elected members, Mr. Sutton and staff. Thank you for having us here tonight. Tonight, I do promise to keep my deputation to 5 minutes to not provoke the ire of anyone here in the chamber. Firstly, I'd like to recap on my previous deputation. A council is established to act as a representative, informed and responsible decision maker in the interest of its community. Now, in terms of density of the Live West development, it is 8 times greater than that of the surrounding Westlake suburbs. According to Council's own report, that would mean there should be a minimum of 6 hectares based on a population of 3,000 or 10 hectares based on a population of 5,000. The minimum is not being met, even with the oval included, and excluding the granting of a 42-year licence to the Sandfell. The cart is in front of the horse. We've heard this term before. Community consultation only considers that Sandfell have a 42-year lease over the oval and that the CLMP is geared specifically for that licence. It specifically does not ask for non-sports ground uses of the site, which is something that Mr. Randall brought up earlier. The basic assumption is that Sandfell will maintain a licence for 42 years on the land. This should not be assumed. A fundamental question for the consultation should be, for what purpose should the land be held? Critically, it should look at the needs of the high-density residential development of Live West, as this is why the oval is to be vested to council by commercial in general in the first place. Council is aware that legally it cannot issue a CLMP or provide any licence to a club unless they have care and control of the land. Vesting can only be brought forward on the condition that Sandfell is given a 42-year licence. Why? C&G are required to pay Sandfell $2 million for the oval, which you can't develop on, but Sandfell must pay C&G the retail price for the land they wish to develop behind the Mosaic Hotel. C&G are not vesting early out of the goodness of their hearts. They are a commercial enterprise, so the vesting of land is contingent on Sandfell being granted a licence. C&G will not vest early and have no need to vest early if Sandfell are not granted a licence. Since when has council dictated the terms of vesting any open space by a private company? Since when has council dictated what the open space must be used for? These are very real but very intimidating questions for this chamber. Extra open space for the Live West community. It has been repeated again and again that the hours that the Sandfell require the oval are in direct conflict with the hours that the Live West community would be using the open space. Sandfell is amateur, the Crows are professional. Sandfell can only schedule outside normal work and school hours exactly the same time as the Live West community would be using open space. If, and only if, there is additional usable open space procured for the Live West community in line with Council's best practice guidelines, can this proposal be considered? Why is no one talking about additional open space for the Live West community? Just a quick addition to Minister Mulligan's points is that Council, as most of you know, have already approached C&G to purchase additional usable space and have been denied, particularly in those southern areas where the apartment blocks are going up. Parking. Let's talk about the pink elephant in the room. You've all heard parking's been an ongoing issue around Live West from the beginning. Today, the Crows were training from 11 to 12:30 on the oval. I headed out and took some photographs. It was packed. This is a normal Monday at Charles Street, Max Road, Phillip Street, Bashir Drive, Trewbridge, the Crows car park, and the Natunga car park were packed. The only cafe open was the Morning Fix, which is adjacent Natunga. Neither Lombra nor Zate and Zatar restaurants are open on Mondays. There was no extra or special events in Natunga, yet parking was at a premium. We also know that the Mosaic Hotel is already oversubscribed in the evenings and on weekends, with cars parking on Burgess and in Westfield. The loss of the Crows car park will only exacerbate the situation, as the Sandfell car park is only providing an additional 78 parks, less than what the Crows car park currently holds. As previously stated, the traffic report provided by Sandfell is hugely flawed by not taking into consideration high-density housing and the future maximum housing population of Live West. Given that another 4 apartment blocks and an untold number of additional land and house packages are yet to be developed, no one is addressing the pink elephant in the room. Working together.
Sarah, so how much more time are you looking for?
1 minute, sorry, just this last slide.
Okay, we've got the last slide. I need to set the meeting to give Sarah an extra 2 minutes. Please, Grant.
Thank you. Sandfell said they are committed to working with the community, and the community is screaming out to be heard, as you've heard tonight. But neither of these things are happening. The community is not being considered. The community wants to work with Council and Sandfell, but are being deliberately excluded, with consultation and wording only focusing on Sandfell's needs. The decisions that the Chamber will be making now and going forward do not impact the amenity or day-to-day lives of Mr Mulligan's electorate, of the state or the South Australian National Football League's community, but they do directly affect the day-to-day lives of the Live West residents every single day. Thank you.
All right, any questions? Any questions? No questions? Can someone move the motion, please? Thank you formally, Sarah, for your presentation, deputation, and any notes we're happy to include in the minutes of the meeting. Councillor Kenzie.
Having moved that now.
Second by Councillor Kenzie. Thank you. Questions on the vote? Put the motion to the vote. Those in favour? Any against? No against. That's carried.
move this motion, Madam Mayor. In my opinion, sooner or later, it'd rather be sooner than later, something has to be done with that piece of land, which is situated within the high density housing area in the West Lakes. And really, I think we need to consider our options here. What are our options? If it stays the way it is, it means the Crows will continue to use it for the next 25 or so years, but they will probably miss out on the opportunity to move to where they want to be, and that's the Everton Hall. It cannot stay as an undeveloped area for much longer. Football Park has been a sport precinct for many decades now. The name says it all. And for the future, in my view, this is a good opportunity to secure the football park as a sports ground with plenty of open space for the local community to enjoy. I note that the council has negotiated a total of 19% of open space across the whole of the site. I don't think there is a big chance that more housing blocks would be developed on the site. However, we need to be proactive and secure the football park will continue to be the site where young boys and girls will continue to play sport for many, many years to come. I would also like to inform the elected members that I went online and looked at the constitution of the South Australian National Football League Incorporated. And I looked at the amended version of the constitution from the 10th of December 2019. Paragraph 4 says that the SINFL is a non-profit organization. All income and property of the league must be applied solely towards the promotion of the objects of the league. Paragraph 2.1, that is to promote, encourage and manage the game of football and encourage the playing of all other forms of athletic sport. And no part of such income or property shall be paid or transferred directly or indirectly by way of dividend, bonus or otherwise to any member of the league. So I will support today's motion based on the report for a 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 2, that is 42 years, non-exclusive license to the SINFL for football park, which means the community will not be excluded from using it. I also note that we are not finalizing anything today. A further report will be presented to Council on the proposed community land management plan, as well as a draft open space agreement between the Council, the developer, and the landowner, which is SINFL, for the remaining open space to be vested to Council in the immediate future. With the development of this project, I also urge you to take into account the social and economic benefits that will come to the area, particularly for the West Lakes precinct. I urge Council members to vote in favour of this motion. I'm looking for a seconder.
Thank you, Councillor Peter. Do I have a seconder for the motion, please? Councillor Quinn.
Mayor, I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. You wish to speak to that, Councillor?
Mayor, when I reflect on my citizenship in Australia and back in Underdale High School when I was only one of 5 Asian faces at that school, I came to the Greek and Italian students that went to that school. They came to know me by Quintran only after knowing that I was good at athletics, that I was good at sport, that I was actually good at weightlifting, that I was a very good martial artist. So through sport, it really united me to become a member of the community.
decision that I make in terms of looking at my role as a councillor in the best interest of City of Sturt. We need to activate our area as a whole. I understand that there might be repercussions directly for the West development, but as a city, football will unite us and it will be able to bring harmony into the area, and it is an activity to enhance our economic region. So for that, I second the motion. Any other questions or debate on this? Councillor Rachel.
Thank you, Mayor. Through the Chair, I have some questions of staff regarding some data. The first question is, with the public consultation, how many responses have we had to our most recent public consultation?
Through you, Mayor. Yes, previously in the first round of consultation in November last year, we received 27 responses, 14 were opposed, 4 expressed concern, 6 were supportive, and 3 were conditionally supportive.
Thank you. Only 27 responses, and you've just given me the breakdown. What were the objections in that data?
Through you, Chair. Largely along the lines of what we heard this evening in regards to concerns about access to open space.
And from those 27 responses, is there a breakdown of which wards or suburbs contributed to those 27? Were there 27 all from one suburb, or what was the breakdown for that?
Through you, Mayor, I'm sorry, I don't have the breakdown per suburb. I can certainly take it on notice and provide that breakdown.
I think that would be very helpful.
If I might add to that, what was the breadth of the consultation? That might help us understand. Was it a very localised one, or was it citywide?
Through you, Mayor Angela, it was they now allowed incorporated about 1,400 properties, upwards of 500 square from Football Park itself. We then had a intensive consultation strategy with your say, social media and the like, which did really expose the matter that we're addressing here.
So just to clarify, the public consultation was not restricted just to the western suburbs, but it's the whole community?
That is correct.
And how many people do we have as residents in the City of Sturt, roughly?
Approximately 120,000.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from the floor? Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. So through you, Mayor, to the staff, if the ground wasn't used for elite sports, what would the general cost for upkeep and maintenance be? Obviously, it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, through the Mayor, we do have a sporting and community clubs fees policy, which actually stipulates the square metre rate of different types of playing services. That ranges from a pocket park, a localised reserve, which is about 25 cents a square metre to maintain, upwards to a district level sports ground, which is invariably about $1 a square metre. So for an AFL ground, you're roughly looking around $20,000 per annum.
Okay, so the sample are going to, like, if they have licence of the land, they will be maintaining it to $120,000 worth per annum, yes?
That's correct. Yep.
So, now, but that doesn't include the cost of water, so the cost of water comes back to council, is that correct?
Through you, Mayor, water's an interesting one for us. It's quite difficult to manage. A lot of our sites do have the luxury of using raw water, which comes at a cheaper rate. Recycled water is expensive again, and some sites are purely on potable water, mains water. Council made the decision a long time ago to absorb all water costs of our sporting clubs. So that would be the same here, even though the site is on board.
And at what cost would that water be? Because I believe that because of the bore pump that's there, that is half aquifer like water and half potable water. Is that right?
We understand football parks purely made by bore water, which is about 30 cents a kilometre at this stage.
And so do you know what sort of cost that would be to us per annum?
No, we would need to take that on notice. We could bring back possible examples of similar sized grounds that are undeveloped.
Okay. So at the moment, do we know how many residents are actually in the development so far?
Through you, Mayor, approximately 1,500.
And if the apartment blocks go on around the Oval, etc., and the apartments in Charles Street on the other side next to the childcare centre, and do we know how many residents are likely to be there in the end?
Through Chair, the original forecast was for about 3,000 residents. So, in other words, another 1,000 to 1,500, depending upon the configuration and density associated with those apartments.
So when the original 3,000 was put up, there wasn't actually apartment blocks on the oval around the southern end or the northern end. So would that have gone up with those densities? Is it 6 stories that we're looking at?
Through Mayor, we don't have a development application before us at the moment for apartments at either end, but we understand that they're probably looking at approximately 5-storey. But I do have to add that the overall density of the West development is below what was originally envisaged because the apartment blocks generally are 5 to 6 stories and it was envisaged that they would be higher than that, 8 to 10. And that's obviously not occurred because of market demand.
Thank you. That's all for me.
Okay, Councillor Katrina.
Thank you. I just have a few questions for staff initially. For yourself, Mayor Angela.
Yep. Go ahead.
So just are you able to speak to please the point raised in Sarah McGrath's deputation in regards to open space provision being a minimum of 2 hectares per 1,000 people? Is this the current standard that the council expects?
Through you, Mayor Angela, the rule of thumb which we've taken upon the open space strategy is 3,000 per 1,000 population.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
3,000 square metres per 1,000 population.
3,000.
So 3 hectares per 1,000 population.
Sorry, 3 hectares per 3,000 people. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Per 1,000.
Sorry. You throw it in. Okay.
I
And so,
should,
just to clarify, does the West development meet that or not? Even though I'm aware it has 19% open space. Or at its expected, final residential numbers.
Just get comments and stuff.
Yeah. I should clarify, Mayor, that there's actually a statutory open space provision requirement that was declared by the Minister himself at the time when the West development was authorised, and the Minister at the time specified the 15% open space, not council, but certainly above the 12.5 statutory minimum that applies elsewhere across the state.
Thank you. And in regards to the community engagement approach, can you please just clarify the additional strategies that you see will increase uptake in this proposed engagement process? I know that one of them is 1 half-day stall at Westfield. Is that was the main one I picked up? Were there others? And can I just clarify, is that just 1 half day?
Through the Mayor, at this point in time, it's 1 half day. obviously open up to the chamber for discussion on that if you see fit for additional. Another point of difference with our consultation techniques, previously we were asking for open submissions, which may have been considered quite onerous to people to actually sit down and put pen to paper about the reasons why they did support or not support a proposal. We're actually looking to formalise our questioning around that to make it quite simplistic for people to have their say on this matter.
Sure. Okay, thank you. And then just one more comment, which I'm not sure if staff are best placed to answer or not, so I'm happy for it to be taken on notice potentially. But just in terms of the growing popularity of football, and we're looking at this current point in time, but what is the protection of football and the use of metro ovals in City of Sturt?
Through the Mayor, significant in short. What we can say, Councillor Katrina, when you asked for further reports on this matter, and we went back to 2015, it's probably the last time the Council considered this master plan, and taking me back to 2015 was prior to the explosion of women's AFL. So since that time to now, things have really ramped up. There's been significant pressure on all of our metropolitan grounds, particularly with this code pushing really hard to maximise every facility that they can. We do not see that slowing down. We don't think it's just changing participation from one code to another. We really think this is a movement where more people, more females are being introduced into the competitive structure sport.
Councillor Katrina, in order to answer that in a more fulsome way, I'd like to offer the Chambers the opportunity to seek some feedback from Mr. Darren Chandler, just with leave of the meeting, to ask him to come and provide some input on that question. Can I see a show of hands that leave is granted? Thank you, Mr. Chandler. Would you like to join us, if you don't mind? So, what's the growing popularity of football, particularly in the city of Sturt, in the future, from your point of view? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, the growth of the female game has been enormous over the last 5 years. In fact, we've now got, I think it's nearly 9,000 girls playing football across the state. Many of those are playing in this area. Our clubs are bursting at the seams in this area, and we only expect that to increase over the next 10 years. In terms of oval space, we know across the state we estimate we need 6 ovals in the next 5 to 7 years in the metropolitan area to cater with that demand. But we also need to increase the usage capability by increasing better playing surfaces and using technology to allow a greater number of teams to actually access oval space. So it's a real challenge for us. I mean, it's a good problem to have with so many more girls being actively playing the game. But I guess in this case we're not anticipating that this item will be used for significant community use, big limits obviously for those talented players, which obviously the young girls and boys in the community would aspire to get to.
Okay, thank you.
That's all answer. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor Rachel? Small questions from you. Okay?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a question to staff through the chair. Having seen the slide with today's parking issue, is it possible to collect further data for us as councillors to measure the parking volumes over a 2 or 3 week period, to give us a snapshot of parking in the Midwest?
Through me, yes, that's certainly possible. We can do that. I think we did table previously last year, along with the sample application, a parking study that articulated the requirement for the additional 78 parking spaces to address parking demand. And of course, any study at the moment
is made more difficult by the fact that the West development is still essentially under construction, and so there is still an amount of trades and building related activity occurring that would not otherwise be there. But yes, it's certainly possible.
Just on the parking study, would we be able to differentiate between visitors, residents in the area and construction workers and so on? Is that a possibility in the study that time?
That it is problematic, which is why I mentioned it. Obviously, it's hard to differentiate between those people who are living, visiting, and working in the immediate area. But obviously, it's something that we could discuss with consultants.
Thank you.
Through the chair, is it also in your data, collecting that data, if it's able to reflect the times when vehicles are parked in certain streets, morning and afternoon, evening? I know it sounds laborious, but I think it would give us a better understanding of what some of the issues may be regarding congestion.
Through you, yes, that's certainly possible.
Thank you.
Councillor Kinsey.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a question through you to staff. I noticed on page 24 there's a comment that the Appendix 6, which is predominantly SNFL associated organisations putting feedback, is actually going to be included in the consultation outcomes. I just wanted some commentary. Do we do that normally as a matter of consultation?
This project has been somewhat different to an ordinary consultation. We've had the initial consultation that was conducted back in late 2023. Subsequent to that, we've had a series of reports and workshops with yourself that have been, as an elected member body, that have been open to the public. That has spawned a level of community interest in this throughout, and so we've received a number of pieces of correspondence, some of which have been included in the report tonight. I've spoken with a councillor before the meeting who indicated that they queried that process. Essentially what we've tried to do is to provide all of the information to you as best as possible. Obviously those inputs would be part of the consultation process that would be followed if tonight's recommendation is endorsed, as they've been contributions to that. We would also make sure that those people that contributed to the earlier consultation are also contacted to make sure that they understand that there's a fresh consultation approach, to make sure that if they have new or additional contributions that they get incorporated as well. So it hasn't been a straightforward one for us to manage from that point of view. It's been, normally you would have a consultation, a campaign that supports that consultation, you scoop up the results of that and we'll present that. This has been, if you would, somewhat fragmented because we've had a series of consultations, a series of reports supported by workshops to make sure that we flesh out all of the information, because it has been, to some extent, a moving feast with commercial and general partway through that agreeing to vest the land earlier if that was required. The sample have modified based on the community input from the earlier consultation, their proposition or their request to us. And so at each point we've made sure that we've communicated that to elected members and where possible community in a transparent way. So we are suffering as part of that because I can see that there are some people that have seen that has been unfair because they feel like it's been treated inconsistently, but all that we've tried to do is essentially make sure that we've provided all of the opportunities as possible, as early as possible throughout the process.
So just to, to get it in my head, so the ones that have actually put consultation in will be invited to resubmit, but the ones that are currently in the Appendix 6 as such will be submitted as they are. They won't have to resubmit anything.
We could incorporate the earlier ones, but I would be
cautious to just roll those in because they were based on a different proposal that the SANFL had in front of us at that time. We could go back to those people who have made the ones in the interim and ask them if they would like to have those incorporated into the second round consultation to make sure that it's as best as possible and even playing for them.
Thank you.
Right, Councillor Peter, you have the opportunity to ask a question.
Yeah. One question through the mayor to the staff. Can you please clarify who pays for irrigation costs of the football park at present? Who pays?
Through the mayor, it's currently paid by the SANFL.
SANFL currently plays it. Okay, Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got another question in regards to the vesting coming forward. So if the consultation goes out and the community or the consultation comes back that no SANFL doesn't get a licence there, does that mean CNG are not vesting the land at an earlier stage, or are they still going to do that?
Yeah, two parts to that. So the vesting is more related to the CLMP, but I'll Bruce expand on that.
Thank you, Mayor. Essentially, the football park oval is required to invest in council in 2026. We negotiated with both SANFL and CNG to bring forward that vesting date on the basis that council was prepared to grant the licence to the SANFL because of previous concern raised by one resident in regards to the amount of time elapsed potentially between council endorsing a licence and the actual land investing in council. So that was the reason that we negotiated to bring forward that vesting date. Either way, it leads to 2026.
So, but it wouldn't be vested earlier. Either way, did you say it would be in 2026?
Either if council grants the licence for SANFL to occupy, then the vesting date will be brought forward to approximately middle of this year, subject to land divisions, etc. Otherwise, the land will vest in council at latest in 2026.
Right, any questions? Any more questions regarding this, Councillor Nicole?
Yeah, just through the chair, is there any possible way to acquire any more open space through CNG? Yeah.
Through you, Chair, as we've heard earlier on this evening, there are other land parcels that CNG are intending to develop residential apartments to the south and also to the northwest of the oval. We understand that at this stage they will be developed at full market cost. However, subject to potentially council being able to seek grant funding from the state government, there is always the opportunity to be able to seek to purchase that land as opposed to seeing it developed for residential apartment purposes.
Right, any other questions regarding this, Councillor Kenzie?
No, I'm going to enter the debate at the moment. I see this as a really big deal, changing the CLMP, and I'm not prepared to support this motion in its current form, purely because the CLMP is contingent on SANFL having the inclusive licence, which I don't think is a fair and blank canvas. I think we really need to ask the community what it is they want, and it may well be that it is SANFL coming back, but that needs to happen organically and not automatically. So I think that we're being pressured into this, and I don't think there is actually that sense of urgency. I do understand the enormity and the implications with the state government and the Crows, but this is not our community's emergency. And we are elected to look after the interests of our community first and foremost. So this one does not sit well with me at the moment. I went for a walkthrough on Thursday night through the West Development, and I was pretty overwhelmed with how dense it is already, and I'm quite concerned about the future developments on the northern and southern sides with an area that is, again, like I said, a very high dense area. I don't have a problem with the SNFL program as such. I believe in it. I think it's fantastic. I'm just not concerned. I'm not sure this is the right space for it in such a high residential area. I would like to see the council exploring the options of acquiring more land, because then I think we could possibly come to a win-win scenario. The community has land that's available to them at the prime times that they want, and also sees potentially the SNFL dream being realised. So if this motion doesn't get up, I'll be flagging an alternate motion that looks at council exploring options into looking at ways of securing more land around this site.
Councillor Kelly.
I have another question, if that's okay. The 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 2 obviously is a 42-year licence. Would we be going out to consultation every 10 years to secure the next 10 years?
Through you, Mayor, no, that would not be necessary, because essentially the consultation process being considered by the council this evening would be sufficient to cover the entire duration of that 42-year period. And the time periods, though broken up to 10 plus 10, etc., are benchmarks or milestones upon which council and SANFL can review the licence conditions and adherence to those conditions before then progressing to the next 10-year period. But no, there'll be no more consultation.
Thank you. I would like to enter the debate as well, if that's possible. I have concerns about this at the moment due to the fact that the CLMP and the licence are going out together. I think that the CLMP needs to be done beforehand. I think that it is putting the cart before the horse, as was explained earlier. I think that it would be nice to hear what the community actually would like to see there before we agree to putting a sporting club or ground or somebody to have control over the space. I think that the community that I've heard back from are more than 27 people. It has come through I've had lots of conversations in regards to it with people very concerned about it, that it's already a done deal with our council, which is concerning to me as well, and our reputation. In regards to Appendix 6, having that included in this, I have concerns with as well, especially since a SANFL employee sent out an email that I did circulate to, or a messenger, I did circulate to all elected members this morning, that I have had for a few weeks, asking for their network to, at the Henley Sharks that have 1,000 kids that play there that are registered at Henley, and asking for feedback to be sent through to council, and a lot of how that those written were in that message. So I have concerns about having that included in there, especially when it did come after the consultation period. So I have major concerns about that. So I won't be voting for this. If it is voted down, I look forward to seeing what Councillor Kenzie's alternative is, but I would like to see the CLMP discussed first.
Councillor Kelly, on your concern around Appendix 6, where there was an email asking for feedback from community members, what especially is concerning about that to you?
that the people that may or may not have responded maybe just responded out of loyalty to that person. That person is well respected in the area, and when they have asked for, like, you know, need your help to do this, that people have just gone, oh yeah, I'll do it, and really hadn't had any thought process involved in it initially anyway. So that concerns me a little bit, that it was done more so out of loyalty to a person rather than having a care about what the situation is.
So that's an assumption on your part.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And a comment from the person who actually sent it to me as well. So, yeah.
But it's an assumption on yours and that person's part.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other feedback from Councillor Sturt?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I won't be supporting this motion tonight. I noted there's quite a number of deputations, and quite clearly there's so many questions not properly answered in my opinion. I would prefer more and detailed public consultation prior to this recommendation before us tonight.
Right, Councillor Quinn. Now, just bearing in mind, Councillor Quinn, that you said that yes, those questions have come.
Yes, I stand firm on my second to this motion. Through the Chair, I'd like to ask staff to just reaffirm again with regards to if the SANFL lease does not fall through, the consequences in terms of our negotiation and bargaining power with the use of this open space land. Can I please have council staff comment on that, please?
If it doesn't fall through. So if it doesn't go through, so
We don't, if
the recommendation as it's been moved and seconded tonight, if it doesn't go through, what are the consequences?
what are the consequences? Yes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Essentially, the SANFL have an existing licence at Theberton with West Torrens Council for occupation of the oval in that location for their activities until 2031. West Torrens Council have advised, following considerable public consultation and engagement with the Adelaide Crows, that they have a preference for the Crows to assume that licence, and they will not be renewing the SANFL's licence beyond that date. So essentially, if Council does not agree to the provision of a licence to the SANFL at Football Park, then there will be a period of considerable uncertainty in regards to the relocation of the Adelaide Crows to Theberton, and how that can eventuate if the SANFL cannot move to Football Park. And obviously this has been something that's been very much at the forefront within the community on the basis that the state government has very much been supportive of the Crows relocating to Theberton, and actually there's funding expectations surrounding that. We know that both the Adelaide Crows and the SANFL have funding agreements with state and federal governments in relation to commencing refurbishment or construction of training facilities. There would obviously need to be some renegotiation of those agreements, pending what was actually ultimately determined in terms of the relocation of the Adelaide Crows and the consequent impact on the SANFL.
Councillor Eden, could you turn your light off, please?
Yes, I did.
Just turn your light off because we haven't finished on it yet. Thank you.
Sorry, through the Chair, so the question that I specifically asked is our negotiation power at this particular point in time, will that be will that be impeded at all if the SANFL lease falls through tonight?
The proposition that was flagged by Councillor Kenzie to enter into further discussions and negotiations potentially with the Commissioner in general, concurrently with an exploration with the state government for a contribution towards additional open space, would be enhanced by the support of the recommendation that we have before us at the moment. It is my judgment that if that was not supported and the council was seen to be not willing to support the SANFL moving to the Oval, then the state government wouldn't have an interest in supporting additional open space for that area.
Okay, just off the back of Councillor Quinn's questions, can I just ask, were we to just split up the work around the CLMP and the licence, what would the implications be for that? Can we do that rather than having those two bundled together? This is a comment Councillor Kelly made. I just want to explore that a little bit further with staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Essentially, the open space agreement is the one that's been negotiated with Commissioner General as the developer and also the SANFL as the landowner. And that explicit purpose of that document is to ensure that Council does receive the full 19% that has been negotiated, including the football park oval, as well as the additional 6 metre buffer around the oval as well. So the purpose of that document is specifically to give confidence to Council and the community that we can actually secure that open space. The longer that that is not secured, the more pressure we're likely to get from the developer to continue to try and develop land that has not been secured as open space. So that's one of the pressure points that we have. So that's the open space agreement. And the licence to the SANFL has obviously been predicated on the basis of undertaking the community land management plan, consultation with the community, and then Council determining to enable the SANFL based on the hours of use that have been presented this evening to occupy that space on those hours for over the duration of that 42-year agreement. So that's the difference between the two.
Yes, I know the difference between the two, but can they be separated out as two separate pieces of work? I know that would probably require two consultations, etc. But is that possible to do that, given that's been used as a detriment for voting for tonight's recommendation?
I think it would be beneficial if Council at least adopted the open space agreement so that there was confidence then in the over-vesting in the Council. I think any negotiations with the state government, as the CEO has indicated, Council needs to be seen to be in a position of strength. I believe that the rationale or the context for seeking additional funding to purchase open space is predicated on the basis that the SANFL would actually be granted a licence. Otherwise, if the SANFL was not granted a licence, it would remove the pretext for Council to seek the additional open space. So that would undermine the basis for an open space grant.
So those two things can't actually be separated out from each other, is that what I'm hearing you say? Because one gives the other the context.
Yeah, certainly in terms of the licence and acquiring additional open space, the two would logically go together, correct?
Right, other questions from Councillor Katrina?
Thank you, Mayor Angela. So yes, through the Mayor, and apologies if you just explained this because I was still trying to wrap my head around it. Can you please explain why the open space agreement is so prescribed in the what the council works and what the council will do with that open space that is vested to it?
Through you, Mayor. The open space agreement has been subject to negotiations, quite intense negotiations, specifically with commercial in general, probably less so with Sandford. So therefore, from a commercial and general perspective, they wanted to really clearly articulate their responsibility with respect to open space and infrastructure provision, etc. And we've deemed it necessary in both our interests to be able to articulate as clearly as possible, particularly with regards to financial obligations, exactly what each respective party is accountable for in delivery of the open space and the ancillary infrastructure works, knowing that it is in the heart of a high density development and in the context of potentially enabling some form of ongoing use of the oval either by the Adelaide Crows or by the SANFL.
So, if I could clarify my question, in the schedule item 6, council works, it details that the council will, for example, deliver a 3 metre wide surface walking track around the perimeter that will deliver landscaping, a barbecue, a playground. So my question is, you know, why is it so detailed in the open space agreement? Because usually the community has input into those things that, like, in my mind, hasn't been finalised yet. So I'm just a bit confused about why open space agreement is so detailed in that, because if that gets executed, is the council then has to deliver that, regardless of community feedback?
I think it demonstrates an intent from council's perspective that we do want to see enhanced facilities over and above what have been currently provided. I think the deputations this evening, we've heard that, you know, currently the surrounds of the oval are not up to the desired standard for people to recreate and use the area in terms of those types of facilities. But it also relates to discussions that Commercial in General had with Uniting Care, the aged care facility in the northeastern corner, in regards to the playground. The reason that was originally envisaged in that location was because Uniting Care was seeking a playground facility in support of their residents or clients, and knowing that there are extended families who would be bringing children to that area, so they sought to have a playground in close proximity to their facility. So on the basis that they're very much a stakeholder with a direct interest in the development of that open space, we wish to make it quite clear that council was going to honour that requirement and enhance the recreational as well as playground space in that northeastern pocket.
Sure, and then so are you confident that those particular things are what the community want in that space, that the consultations told us until this time? I'm just concerned that the execution of...
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
You don't need to explain it.
Yeah, okay.
Look, at the end of the day, Mayor, at the end of the day, this represents negotiations between council and Commercial in General. But of course, there's always the opportunity, and certainly the desire on our behalf, to seek further consultation, subject to the vesting of the land, further consultation with the local community on exactly how they want to see those recreational facilities delivered.
So can I rephrase, is there enough grey in the open space agreement currently in order to allow changes in that space to happen pending further community feedback?
I believe there is. Essentially, we've negotiated a 6 metre buffer. At this stage, we've predicated that as being 3 metres of running track. there's been some conjecture this evening as to whether that's the appropriate
Yeah, that's okay. I
surface. So
understand.
yes, there is grade that we can build into it, as we can also, particularly in that northeastern pocket, and on the plaza area adjacent to Tunga, in terms of the types of facilities, shelters, barbecues, etc. that the community would like to see incorporated.
Thank you. So that's really my question. Is there enough grade? Because if it gets executed and then CNG say, well,
Yes, there is. That's the
Okay.
answer.
I hope that's
Okay, I'm going to throw to, now, I'm conscious of the time and our meeting procedures dictate that we actually have a break at this point in time. So I know we're in the middle of everything. How much flex do we have, Donna? Yeah, if you want to continue, we can actually delay until we've actually finished this item if people are not getting too ground down by it. There's some nodding around the place, so I can see a show of hands that leads granted to continue with this item, and we'll have a break when it's finished. Okay, I'm going to go to Councillor Rachel because she had her light on and I dismissed it earlier. My apologies for that. Can I be right? Okay, where are we going from here? Councillor Kelly.
Thank you. Just touching on what Bruce was just saying a minute ago in regards to
Just a reminder, Councillor Kelly, you've already spoken in the debate, so you need to ask the question directly.
Yeah, so it's in regards to his thoughts on the vesting of the overall. Regardless, at this moment, CNG still have to vest that piece of land, that overall, to the council at some stage to meet their legal requirements.
Through me, yes, that's correct. The tension point here has always been in regards to the amount of open space and the desire on commercial and general as a developer to try and ensure that they are meeting the statutory requirement, which is only 15%. So therefore, there is a tension point around the additional 4% and whether that would be represented as public open space or whether that would revert to developable land upon which CNG would seek to gain a commercial return and use that for additional residential or commercial land. So at the moment, we've been able to secure additional open space over and above of CNG's commercial obligations.
So, but that overall does need to be vested back to the council.
The oval does, absolutely.
Councillor Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question to start through the Chair. It was sort of answered actually through that question, and it is to do with, I think, staff made it quite clear that the open space agreement is essentially contingent and tied in many ways to the licensing agreement. I don't think there's much way around that, the way that you've described it being set up. So my question really is, with respect to the open space agreement, at the moment as things stand, we stand to benefit a 4% increase from the statutory minimum. If we were to, if that was to fall away, can the council, can the administration just explain the level of risk that that actually poses to us, being that we're coming from a position of not having ownership of the land, and there's a lot of ties into this aspect. What's the realistic risk of losing that 4% of open space?
Thank you, Matt. The tension point at the moment is that the developer understandably wishes to proceed with completing the rest of the development. We have advised Commercial and General over some years now that we wanted to ensure that there would be orderly development that incorporated appropriate public open space. Hence we advised Commercial and General a couple of years ago now that we would not accept any more land divisions or development applications until such stage as we were able to secure an open space agreement. It has to be said that our advice to CNG that we were pausing considering applications is open to legal interpretation and challenge. So the longer that remains unresolved, the more likely there is to be a challenge.
Thank you. My other question actually following up was what was the litigation?
We've got a large one.
Sorry.
Who else has got their large one?
I've got one going. Sorry, thank you. So thank you, Bruce. That was my follow-up question. Was the contractual arrangement and the risk that that actually puts on the council as well.
That through you, Mayor, yes, that's correct.
Okay, Sturt, Councillor Sturt.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor. The football park goalposts are probably one of the second or third largest ovals for playing football. Why then, which would solve a lot of things, if they reduce their oval from perhaps 160 metres by 125 and go down to 130 metres by 100, because they're not playing real games, and that's sort of a ballpark figure.
So let's be clear, this is a question. We don't have to go on to explanations.
The question is probably
put it to the staff around.
Can they reduce the oval size?
Through you, Mayor, no, we've been quite clear in our discussions with Sandford, and they've been equally clear to us that their training is predicated on having the use of an oval that meets the existing dimensions of Football League clubs, so that there's no diminution in the quality of that playing space.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Kinsey.
Yes, I've just got a question for staff in relation to potential funding. Is there a danger that once it's a done deal and the SANFL have got their land and licence, is there a danger that there's no urgency for the state government to assist in funding, given that everyone's already got what they want anyway?
That's actually causing the staff to speculate on the mind of the state government in regard to that. So
I get that, but also it has been mentioned tonight that we're putting it in danger if we don't. It was actually speculated that it would actually cause more damage if we didn't accept it.
Yeah, okay.
Through you, Mayor, I think tonight's recommendation is that we proceed to consultation, which demonstrates that we are at least considering the Sandford proposal, and the request for additional open space has been considered in that light, in that context, and that would then therefore provide us with a greater impetus to or strengthen our position in regards to going to the state government to try and secure an agreement regarding the allocation of additional open space prior to the consultation period closing, and council finally resolving one way or the other. We can use that leverage to our benefit, if you like, while we're undertaking the consultation process.
Thanks for that, Bruce. Just a follow-up question, but that it is actually contingent on the SNFL getting that licence.
That would be my understanding at this stage, subject to council endorsement.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions in regard to this?
Could I just interject there? There's a fair bit of hypothesising at the moment as to what would happen when. In terms of, there is a window of time within which, if the consultation was occurring and prior to council having made a decision subsequent to that consultation, that we can have, I would have thought, a reasonable amount of dialogue with the proponents, in particular the state government and regional in general, about access to purchase open space and a funding arrangement. I would have to have discussions with, or we would have to have discussions with the relevant minister, it's not the Treasurer, about that to expedite that outside of what would be an ordinary funding round from the Open Space Fund. But I would have thought that given the government's interest in the game of Tetris that is football in the state, that I would be able to secure a meeting with that minister to be able to have those discussions. But it would be on the premise that it would be prior to the report coming back and you making a decision, which is the decision of licence subsequent, because at the moment what we're talking about is consultation. So it gives us a window of opportunity to explore those funding arrangements.
Obviously. Sorry?
Yes, I have.
Well, you can seek leave for the meeting to enter again.
I'd like to seek leave to ask a question.
Oh, you can ask a question. Questions are fine. We don't need to seek leave.
I've got a comment on the answer.
Sorry?
I've probably got a comment on the answer.
Well, pose it as a question, then you don't have to seek leave. If you're going to enter the debate or you choose to enter the debate, you don't have to seek leave.
Sure, okay. My question then is, this consultation is largely contingent on the assumption that the SNFL are granted the licence. Correct?
Yes.
Through the Mayor,
Before a decision is made on that.
that is the proposal that's currently in the chamber, correct?
Yes.
So it's not actual, as such, open consultation, because there is the preconceived determination that the licence is granted within this CNMP in this current round of consultation.
But it's before we make a decision on it. So there is an opportunity for this council to reconsider its position still, but we have to get the wheels in motion if we want to approach Minister Champion with regard to other open space and some funding from the open space fund.
Yes, I understand that, but does that mean that the community is not actually getting open say with a blank canvas on what they actually want to see with the land with this current consultation, because it actually involves the SNFL moving there?
I think the community could use the opportunity to express their views on the SANFL moving there and pose other suggestions during that consultation about what else they might want to have there as well. But regardless of that, if council doesn't make a decision to move ahead with the SANFL moving there, then the council has an opportunity to decide how